Hello, this is Okabeluchix again, and I welcome you cordially back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking on the journey to achieve your Ielts goals, and thank you for receiving all the help you need from my channel. And just before we continue, if you are not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button down below and click on the notification button as well and like the video, and then we shall continue. Now in this video, we're going to look at a few things. In previous videos, I had explained how to write a good introduction for your Ielts writing task 2. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to write a good conclusion and give you a few tips on how to write the body of your task 2. Okay? And that means how to develop your points, what to involve in your body paragraphs and what to not involve. And finally, I'm going to show you how to write a good introduction for your Ielts task 1 writing for Ielts academic. I'll go through that again. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to write a good conclusion for Ielts writing task 2. I'm going to give you tips on how to develop your body paragraphs, what to involve, what to not involve, what items that make for a higher band for that task. And finally, I am going to teach you how to write a good introduction or opening paragraph for your Ielts writing task 1, Ielts academic. I hope that's clear. Now let's begin. So for your Ielts writing task 2 conclusion, I'm going to start by telling you what to not do in that aspect of your writing task, okay? And there's one key thing to avoid, and that is to not make an extra point. Do not make an extra point. Do not introduce a new idea. You have done 2 ideas already, or 3 ideas as it were, depending on how many points you were able to develop in your body paragraphs. You're not expected to introduce a 3rd or 4th one, okay, as the case may be. So you are to just summarize. So what you need to do is to reward a combination of the opinions you've made or the arguments you've made in the body paragraphs. Reward them, okay? Reward and summarize them, right? And how to do that is very simple. So you reward the opinions. You make a prediction depending on what the topic is, okay? So you reward the opinion, you make a prediction, and you call to action. So let's make it more practical. Say, for instance, you are writing on a topic that says it is better to teach kids at home than to teach them in schools, which in other words means that it is better for parents to teach their kids at home than for teachers to teach them in school, say in the first 5 to 10 years of their lives. And you have chosen to make your argument in favor of parents, okay? And maybe the 2 points you developed in your body paragraphs are that one, teaching them at home provides extra trustworthy monitoring. So if parents teach their children at home, they're able to monitor the children better than teachers would, because first of all, they are the parents of these children and they know these children better and they understand these children better, and they'll be able to monitor them and action any observations they pick up that need further investigation or further action. That's one. And 2, maybe you could say that teaching children at home will safeguard them against unhealthy ideologies that might be taught in schools. And that is not strange in today's times. It is happening in many places, okay? So a reason why parents might want to teach their children at home might be to protect them from ideological narratives or ideological policies being fired into them at such an early age, okay? Or some form of formal grooming that is unhealthy in the long run. All right. So say, for instance, these are the 2 points you developed in your paragraph. So you could make a conclusion that puts them together, okay, and make a prediction and call to action. So let's start from the first one, which is summarizing the points. So you could say something like, teaching children at home prevents the introduction of unhealthy ideologies in public schools as it is seen in many places today. It also provides avenue for closer monitoring, and the best people to do this is the parents. Okay, so you've put those two ideas together and you have rewarded them. Okay, now the next thing is to make a prediction. So you've made a first sentence, full stop, right? So the prediction could be what could happen if children are not taught at home, what could go wrong in the future. Or you could make a prediction of what could go well in the future if they're taught at home. Okay, so many things are, let's assume that so many things are probably going wrong already because most children are taught in schools. Okay, so you could go the other way and you could say something like, um, many children are suicidal, depressed, um, and are suffering from loss of identity currently because they are taught in the public school system predominantly. In the future, if children are taught by parents at home, this could be prevented. So you've made a positive prediction of the outcomes of the opinion that you're supporting. And then finally, you could call to action. You've made two sentences, and finally, or you could continue with that sentence. It could be two sentences. You could say, okay, full stop, and then finally, therefore, comma, all right, call to action. I support that parents should be given the opportunity and the authority and the permission to teach their children at home. And in fact, government should support them with information, resources, and support in their workplaces in form of maybe leave, more leave for parents to be able to spend more time at home and teach their children, or more flexible work schedules so parents can spend more time with their children at home and be able to help and support them academically. Okay, I hope that makes sense to someone watching. Up next now is tips on how to write your body paragraphs. Okay, now you already know from secondary school or high school English language, writing, that connecting words such as furthermore, more so, um, um, however, and so on, are very, very useful in your writing. Words like firstly, secondly, and so on. These words are very important in your writing. Okay, so you don't just open a paragraph just blandly. Depending on because there is need for flow in your writing. One paragraph needs to lead into the other, and the next paragraph needs to lead into the other. So um, when doing your writing, you have to pay attention to those. Say, for instance, you have two or three uh, points that you want to develop in your body paragraphs. Okay, you have to, you can say firstly, blah 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 blah. In the next one, maybe you can open with more so or furthermore, or secondly, as the case may be. Okay. Also, try to use simple sentences as minimally as possible. Obi is a boy, full stop. Ada is a girl, full stop. That sounds really elementary. And you need something better than elementary English to do well in Ielts, okay? Because you're trying to prove that you're a competent English language user, okay? So you need to make complex and compound sentences. So for instance, if you say, more so, comma, children who are taught at home tend to be more emotionally intelligent and more developed all round than those who are taught in schools, because these children are taught by their parents, they're conversant with the home environment, and they're more comfortable and confident to learn at home. That's, you know, that's quite a wide one right there. So that is better than just making simple sentences, scattering simple sentences here and there. And then you could say, um, you could make a comparison, for instance. Children taught in schools do not do too badly academically. However, children who are taught at home tend to be a, a lot more rounded than them, in the sense that they perform at the same level or higher academically than the ones taught in schools, and still are more balanced socially than them. Okay, so things like this help you do so well in the bodies. Okay, I don't want to go too far on that. The reason is, if you are expected to write a total of 4 paragraphs, which includes 2 body paragraphs, an introduction and a conclusion, and I've taught you how to write a good introduction and how to write a good conclusion, that's 50% of the job. And with these few tips, the other 50% of the job is your honors. Okay, and I expect you to do a good job. If you do a good job, you should be anywhere from 7.0 upwards, and that should be your goal. Okay, now we are going to head over to writing a good opening paragraph for, or at least the first 2 paragraphs for your IELTS academic writing task 1. Let's go. So just like all other academic writing tasks, you are judged by the same metrics, which are, I'll go over that again: task achievement 25%, coherence and cohesion 25%, vocabulary 25%, and finally grammar 25%. Okay, so the same metrics. Now the few differences are these: one, that your academic writing task 1 is a summary or a report of a form of data presented in a raw, jagged form, and then you are supposed to rewrite the data and summarize the main points of that data. So that data could be in form of a pie chart, bar chart, diagram, line graph, whatever you are given, okay? Or a process or procedure, whatever you are given, it doesn't really matter. And you are supposed to isolate the important points from that, so that anyone who doesn't understand that format um, or that template of information can read your report and be able to, grasp the major thing that data or diagram or whatever is talking about. Okay, so yeah, you are supposed to make the job of understanding um, information and illustrated information easier for the reader. Okay, and that's what you are intending to do, and you do that by isolating the main points and presenting them in a clear, brilliant, and organized way. Okay, so, and you expected to carry out this task in not more than 20 minutes, and you are to do that in at least 150 words, and you are supposed to do that in 4 paragraphs max. And what I mean is, your first paragraph is you um, explaining, rewarding the title of that information. The next one is you um, making a general view, writing a general overview of the the task or the data or the information you're given. And then the last 2 are um, you now isolating the main points at the heart of the information you are given. Okay, so there is no need to write an introduction and there is no need to write a conclusion. Okay, so you start the first. So sorry, it is 3 paragraphs. Okay, so because the first one you make 2 sentences, but they amount to 1 paragraph at the end of the day. Okay, and not 2. Right? So maximum of 3 paragraphs, and I will explain. So let's say you are given information. So I'm going to show you a um, a bar chart or a line graph next. Just have a look at that and look at the title, read it and understand it, and then I will show you how to reward that title as your first. That should be your first opening sentence, and then we will write an overview, a general overview, and then I can maybe pick out a few things that you might isolate and write in the body. Okay, let's go. So if you study that bar chart, you will realize that it shows the spending of two countries, France and the UK, in the year 2010. And they spent these monies on five different consumer goods. The two countries have two different color codes. So you see lines in a particular color. There's a key at the bottom of that bar chart showing what color is France and what color is the UK. Okay? Now, make some very important observations at a glance. And those observations are these. Which country spent the most money? Which, in other words, means which country has the highest number of lines. What I mean is this. So, for each consumer group good, which country's line is higher? And then you check it across the period and see which one of the average is higher. Okay, that's how you know who spent more in that year. Okay. What do they share in common? Is there a good that both of them spent a high amount of money on? Is there a good both of them spend the least amount of money on? What is that good? Okay. You make some of these observations before you start. But the first thing you do is, like I said, the first sentence is you rewarding the title of the information you are giving, or the diagram or the bar chart or the line graph, whatever. Okay. And you do that by avoiding numbers as much as possible and using, if you must, the numbers given to you in that title. So the number could be in terms of amount or year. In this case, is a year. Okay. So you try and stay within that. All right. So I have rewarded the title of this bar chart this way. The bar chart below illustrates the spending for France and the UK on five consumer goods for the year 2010. Okay. Now, I've used only two numbers here, 5 and 2010. Okay. I've avoided amounts. It's not necessary. Okay. So I've exchanged the word shows with the word illustrates. I've exchanged the word expenditure with the word spending. And I've just written this in a different way. There are so many other ways you could write it. Okay. So this is to make my writing more solid, more authentic. Okay. So that's the first sentence done. The second sentence is very important. It is the general overview. And you start your general overview with the word overall. Overall is spent Overall. All right. So in your general overview, you make general observations. So the first thing you can do is this is a tool that can help you. So you can first of all isolate the highest trend. You look at trends, you can isolate the highest trend. One, that's your first sentence. In your second sentence, you can go for any similarity, anything that is shared in common. And then your final sentence, you can go for a disparity, something that is not shared in common. Okay? I'll explain what I mean after reading what I've written. So this is what I created from that diagram, that bar chart. I wrote, overall, the UK spent much more money on consumer goods than France within the given period, full stop. Okay, so I've identified a high trend. Okay, next one. Both countries spent most of their funds on cars. All right, comma. Whereas the least amount of money was spent on perfumes in the UK and on cameras in France. So what I have done is to identify a high trend, identify a shared feature, and identify the disparity. So I've done, the first part of this writing is done. Okay, so I've done the first paragraph. The next thing you do is in your next two paragraphs is you can now focus the next paragraph on the UK. And what you do in that is you identify a trend across the five consumer goods. And what I mean by that is which good did they consume more? Which one did they consume least? Okay, you just focus on the UK and identify important trends. And then the last one, you do the same thing for France. And that's it. That's it, really. Okay? That's how this thing is done. It's not rocket science. So reward the title of the diagram or the information you are given. Write a general overview, and then identify, focus on specific aspects of it, and identify um, significant trends, okay, on those areas you identified. And then, very importantly, in writing about the UK or France in the last two paragraphs of this writing, you have to use a lot of synonyms. And what I mean is, instead of using increase, you can look for synonyms for increase. Instead of using decrease, you can use synonyms for decrease. So you can use skyrocketed. Uh, also look for abrupt trends. So if there's a sudden increase, so you can say sudden escalation, sudden rise. If there's a sudden decline, you can say decrease. You can say sudden decline or a nosedive. Okay, so a nosedive is like, okay, I don't know how else to explain that. Or maybe when an aeroplane uh, starts falling in this direction, okay, that's a nosedive. Okay, when a streamlined body starts falling face down, that's the best explanation I can give for that. Anyway, so look for sharp increases, sharp decreases. Okay, and also look for things that stayed the same. So these are you just identify some of these things, and you'll be done. You'll be done, really. And remember, 150 words, 20 minutes. And how you count your words, please, is you count the number of words across a straight line, okay? And then you count how many columns or how many lines you have written. So you multiply the number of words for one line by the total number of lines you wrote, and that will give you the the number of words roughly that you have written. Okay, even though they literally count your work word for word, but this is the easiest way you could assess the number of words you've written as quickly as possible. So you could, maybe if you have written 7 words for a line and you have written 10 lines, that's 170, and that's a bit above the standard, and that's fine. You just can't write below 150, but you can write more than 150. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this, anything I've explained in this video, anything I've taught in this video. Let me know if there's any area you are struggling with for Ielts academic writing task 1 or 2, or general task 1 or 2. I'm still going to make a video on Ielts general writing task 1, which is letter writing. Okay, I'm going to make a video about that. But if there is anything I've taught so far that you are struggling with, or any other aspect of Ielts you're struggling with, please leave a comment, and I'm going to make a video to help you overcome that. Okay. And you only need to do me one favor, and that favor is to share this video as voraciously as possible. Share my channel as voraciously as possible. Share with your friends and your well-wishers, even your enemies. Anyway, share to everyone. Put it on your WhatsApp status, put it on your Facebook, your Instagram, wherever, and let others benefit from this amazing source of resources. And see you in the next video. Thank you so much. And this is your brother again, Okabili Chicks. Bye.